welcome to Strengthening Ransomware Defense, NetApp IT's Advanced Security Measures with NetApp on NetApp. Today we have Ram Kodialbail, and he is a senior storage engineer, and he's going to kick off.
Right. Hello, everyone. Are we good to start? All good?
Yeah, good start.
All right. All right. So before we start, as I was introduced, my name is Ram Kodialbail. I'm a senior storage engineer. But before we proceed, please note that the information in this presentation is confidential and proprietary. It should not be disclosed without written permission. I have no control on the features, availability, things could change and such, right? This content we're talking today will outline our general product direction and is for informational purposes only. So NetApp makes no guarantees on future functionality or timelines. Right. With that said, a little bit about me. I joined NetApp as a customer support engineer and then moved on to NetApp IT. I think it's been almost 2 decades now. I'm part of what is called the storage engineering team within NetApp IT. I'll give a brief intro about our team also. But mostly I take care of standards, architecture, automation, and all of that. I got to work on this ransomware protection solutions rollout about a year ago, nearly a year ago. So today we're going to share about our experience. Hopefully you guys will benefit from that. Right? So as you know, the topic is about ransomware protection. Cybersecurity by itself is a critical topic that is a concern for pretty much all the major corporations. At NetApp IT, we understand the importance of proactive measures against these threats. Our approach involves smart, automated, and advanced defenses tailored to anticipate and combat these risks effectively. We mostly use, as far as possible, since we are NetApp IT, we use our storage and all of the features around it, right? So our goal is to safeguard our organization from data loss or breaches by investing in NetApp technologies, implementing robust backup strategies, and also trying to foster a culture of security awareness amongst our employees, which I'm pretty sure all enterprises are working really hard at. Right? The scope of this discussion is limited to how we are using NetApp technologies to protect our storage layer. And so we will not be covering about other security measures at the compute network and endpoint, which is critical, right? Without that, anything any kind of protection you put at the storage level is not guard against the level of attacks that are prevalent today. Okay. So as I said, let's look at what our team does, the NetApp IT storage team. So we kind of messed up did I skip? Yeah, so sorry, I skipped one of the slides. This is the general outline of our agenda today. We'll begin by understanding the risk and impact of ransomware, or a type of malicious software designed to block access to computer systems and especially underlying data storage until a ransom is paid. We will explore NetApp solutions tailored for ransomware protection, including MAV or multi-admin verification processes, tamper-proof snapshots, autonomous ransomware protection, and data infrastructure insights, workload security. Right? It went by the moniker Cloud Insights, and now is Data Infrastructure Insights. Right? A little bit about NetApp IT. We are also known as Customer One because we make sure we use all of our products and services But again, we are corporate. We manage all the corporate data, right? So as far as possible, we try to use our products, but not all the time, right? We manage about 140 petabytes of raw storage, which because of our storage efficiency features, it goes up to nearly 230 petabytes of provision data under our management. We support about 350 corporate applications, both internal and external. We leverage products across our portfolio, all of our products basically, and then we support our team supports both on-prem as well as the cloud. The storage IT engineering team, which I'm part of, which is a 5-member team, is responsible for standards, architecture, product reviews, rollout, and automation. And then we have a dedicated 10-member storage operations team, right, for round-the-clock support. As a team, we support both on-prem and cloud instances, which is in the cloud primarily right now. It's a growing footprint of FSX on AWS, FSX on ONTAP, and CVO on Azure. We have about 32,000 volumes, and of which about 6,000 is iSCSI volumes, right? So this is kind of key. I'll call out this number again later, because right now our ransomware protection supports or provides support for only NAS workloads. So we are working towards a solution to get a solution to protect our SAN volumes also, right? Okay. So yeah, before I proceed further, if you have any questions, please feel to stop me and ask questions. I will not be monitoring chat, but towards the end, I'll have about 10 or 15 minutes to for the QA section, right? But feel free to stop me and ask questions. Okay, so let's discuss about the risk and impacts of ransomware. Ransomware attacks, and I'm pretty sure you guys know, can cripple organizations by encrypting their data and demanding a ransom for its release, leading to possible financial losses, operational disruptions, and most importantly, reputational damage. So let's look at that. This is some of the stats we have. Ransomware attacks is now easy to pull off. It's available as a service. I think it's called goes by RAAS, ransomware as a service, making it easier for cyber criminals to launch attacks. And now with the use of AI, it has further simplified credential theft and attack execution. So look at some of the alarming statistics we have on this slide. Nearly 89% of organizations rank ransomware as a top 5 threat. 75% have already experienced an attempted ransomware attack just in the last 12 months. Only 40% or so have well-defined and tested ransomware incident response strategy. And supposedly nearly 56% of organizations have paid a ransomware to recover their data. Right? I recently came across an article in the Cybercrime magazine which said fastest growing type of cybercrime, referring to ransomware attack, that is expected to attack a business, consumer, or device every 2 seconds by 2031. So yeah, like now read another article yesterday. It was they said in Q1 of this year, what was that? How average of 1,300 attacks, cyber attacks, right? Not necessarily ransomware, but yeah, so it's growing. So this is a major concern should be a major concern for everybody managing corporate infrastructure, especially the board of all the corporations I'm pretty aware and concerned about this, I'm pretty sure. So primary target of ransomware attack is our data, right? An enterprise cannot operate without access to its data. That's why storage is considered the last line of defense against cyber attacks. So as I mentioned earlier, we need to have layered kind of security at the endpoints, network, compute, application layer, and then like the 4C security model of Kubernetes, right? So this also is that's something I picked up along the way and was inspired to secure our infrastructure at all layers, right? So our customers need storage solutions that minimize the chance of a successful attack, minimize the impact of an attack, protect data, and isolate critical data backups, right? Because if your primary storage is compromised, you could recover from your backup or mirrors, but if that's compromised too, then we're kind of stuck. So NetApp has services or features that address all of these. Um, as you know, it's already security is built into our design. We have real-time detection and response tools. There's also a control plane, comprehensive ransomware detection. There's air-gapped worm protection. Whenever you, if that is also an option you can consider. And to top all of that, we have a data recovery guarantee. It's offered with our purchase of NetApp ransomware recovery assurance service. At the time you purchase the qualified storage array, it could be part of our Keystone, AFF, ASAs are covered. Key is auto support must be enabled on each qualified array, and our experts will ensure that the mandatory protection and recovery features are properly configured and assist with the recovery of the data in the event of an attack. Right? So it's a paid service with the guarantee. So this I will talk about at almost the end of our presentation, but as you can tell here, it has several layers of protection, whether if it's a bad user or a bad storage admin. It's someone like me or my account is compromised, right? How do you protect against that using our NetApp the features or ransomware protection solutions, right? So we'll cover that in detail. And talk about it after we have covered the features, right? So there are ransomware solutions include real-time detection and response. We have immutable backups, multi-layered security, automated recovery processes, so which will help help us stay the customer stay resilient against ransomware attacks. Before I go to our ransomware protection solution, we'll talk about some of our features that are already everybody's familiar. I'm pretty sure I can pick anyone at random here and you can tell me about Snapshot, SnapVault, and SnapLock, right? But so I'll tell you about how we use it, how we use SnapVault, Snapshot, SnapLock, and such. By default, our snapshot policies includes 5 hourly snapshots, 6 daily snapshots, 5 weekly, and 3 monthly. This ensures that we have multiple recovery points, minimizing data loss in case of any attack. Pretty much every single volume on our primary storage, whether it's subprod or production, gets a snapshot unless the application team requests for no snapshot, so that they can take snapshots on their own. Like in the case of databases, right? You don't want snapshots associated with it. Also, in some cases, such as disposable part of our disposal infrastructure, specifically the LUNs, right? iSCSI LUNs that are boot LUNs for our brancher worker nodes, right? You don't want to enable snapshots because of the log activity. It can fill up the disk, so and snapshots come in the way. So we definitely don't use snapshots on that. We'll talk about that again when we are talking about tamper-proof snapshots. Next, oops, how did I? Okay. So Snap Vault, it's a means of data protection and data disaster recovery. Snapshot is local on primary storage. Snap Vault is ideal for recovery using snapshots, so you can have it on a remote mirror, and it allows for faster data copies. We continue to use SnapMirror on secondary data storage, but for long-term backups, whether offsite or onsite, we'll use Snapshot or SnapVault. SnapMirror is leveraged for key applications and ensuring data protection and disaster recovery. It's important to note that data can only be viewed by a bad actor with valid credentials, emphasizing the need for strong security measures. So we'll talk about that when we have that consolidated slide about protection. Going on to the next slide, compliance. It prevents the deletion of snapshots with the worm or write once read many technology. This feature ensures that data integrity and provides an additional layer of security. There are, as you know, there are two versions of SnapLock, SnapLock Enterprise, designed for general business use, and SnapLock compliance if you want regulatory requirements, right? So we use this for some of our tier 1, tier 0 applications. Not all, we do not enable a tier 1 and tier 0 application, only the production landscape, right? Not every single one of them. Okay. So with this, you can retain it for a longer duration with compliance. Nobody can delete or compromise those snapshots. Right. So now that we've covered the basics of compliance, SnapLock and enterprise and compliance, let's move on to discuss how we are integrating with SnapLock, to provide a comprehensive solution. Like I talked about, we are using it for some of our tier 0, tier 1 applications. It ensures that our backups are readily available for quick recovery. We have audits in place to, I think, every quarter, quarter or 6 months. So we make sure we test our recovery process. It provides volumes are virtually air-gapped, so it enhances security against ransomware attacks. For SOX compliance, we are using SnapLock with enterprise compliance is used here. So with combining SnapVault and SnapLock, we create a secure backup solution that safeguards our data against threats. Okay. Now, going to our new features. In the next section, we'll look at the additional tools and strategies that can further enhance our defense against ransomware. Okay. So tamper-proof snapshots. This is something we rolled out earlier this year. It allows volumes on our primary storage to be locked up, which was traditionally not possible. Enhances our backup capabilities and ensures comprehensive data protection. It's a crucial security measure that prevents even administrators from deleting snapshots once the snapshot is locked. Okay, so like I mentioned, if my account is compromised, whoever's using that account cannot delete the snapshot, a tamper-proof snapshot, until the expiration time runs out, right? So we were including hourly snapshots for 6 hours lock, and the daily, weekly, monthly snapshots for 24 hours. This is because we wanted to, because we are NetApp IT, we wanted to see how it affects across all landscapes, right? So whenever we roll out new features, we start from our subprod environment and then move it into production. So we had to enable this across pretty much across all of our landscape, right? So we pretty much everything except our database volumes and anything managed by Trident, which is our container storage orchestrator. And like I mentioned, for snapshots, if it's disposable infrastructure, which is iSCSI bootlans, then we're made sure we do not enable tamper-proof snapshots there, right? So database snapshots are managed by our database team, either using custom scripts or Snap Center, right? So we definitely don't want to enable the snapshot policy for tamper-proof snapshots. One thing you should note is that the operational overhead when you enable this feature. So you have to proceed with extreme caution. I had some bad experiences. Right off the bat, I started with 6 hours and 24-hour lock. From luckily in subprod, right? But later on discovered that it comes in the way of data refresh for some environments. You know, they want to drop the volumes, either all the snapshots or the volume itself in subprod, get new copies from production and then rebuild the environment. So if you have a lock in place, if you have a tamper-proof snapshot active, you cannot, of course, delete that snapshot, nor can you delete the volume, right? So that is key. So my recommendation would be, when you enable this feature, when you want testing this feature, start with the 1 hour lock. So that way, if you want to revert, you um, work with the application owner and say, hey, just wait for an additional hour or so, we can release the volume for you, right? So be mindful of that. I had some pretty close uh, P1 situations because of my tamper-proof policy. Even though it was sub-prod, right? It affects the timeline or release cycle for production. So be mindful when you're working with your customers or application team. So next one is ARP, or Autonomous Ransomware Protection. So this it's a natively available feature. You just need to license it, and then it detects potential ransomware attacks, and eliminating the need for any lengthy recovery process, right? What it in the current releases, when you enable ARP, it goes into a dry run or learning mode, could be about 10 days or so, wherein it builds a profile of activity in that volume, looks at file types, extensions, and then the file extensions, right? And also the entropy, which is like the encoding. So and once it goes into active mode, if there is any deviations from the profile that it gathered, it will consider that as a possible ransomware attack, and then take a shot of it, snapshot of the volume, and then monitor it further, right? The snapshot cannot be deleted unless you clear the. It's not a tamper-proof snapshot, but it has the ARP needs to be, for that ARP process, for that volume needs to be stopped, or you have to mark that as a false positive, right? Only then the snapshots will be deleted. Right? So in our case, what we are doing is we are leveraging it across all NAS volumes. ARP current in the current releases only supports NAS workloads. So we have enabled it across our landscape for NAS volumes. It's not ideal for any volume that has high file create, delete, or has encryption from the application side, right? So not ideal for those. And then moving out to multi-admin verification, or MAV. This feature ensures that critical operations such as volume or snapshot deletion can only be executed after receiving approval from designated administrators. It provides an extra layer of security. So even if storage administrator's account is compromised, there is an additional level of protection, right? Going with that zero trust model, right? One thing you must keep in mind is that even though it provides an additional layer of security, it may have some impact on storage operations, because anytime you make a change, try to make a change that is protected by or restricted by MAV policy, um, one or two additional administrator approval is required. So there's a delay. So the benefits definitely outweigh the potential drawbacks, but there will be a lot of complaints initially from the operations team, right? A lot of pushback, but it's something you cannot avoid. If you want to have this level of protection, you have to negotiate with the operations team, and then convince them why it is important to have, right? So we have enabled this across all of our ONTAP clusters. One thing to note is that when you enable MAV, by default, setDAG is also part of the MAV configuration. If your operations team uses that regularly, you might want to consider removing it from MAV policy before enabling MAV. In our first rollout, we had to remove setDAG. We included ARP modify, which is ARP modify, and adding snapshot policy modify also. Later on, we've added several more controls in place. Another thing to note is setDAG is used by Cloud Insight's Cloud Insight collector, or data infrastructure collector for ONTAP collector, right? By default, it tries to get the network group details using setDAG. So once MAV was enabled, we discovered a lot of requests for MAV approval, and that's when we realized that Cloud Insights, or DII, is using setDAG by default. Not CI, but the CI ONTAP collector. So keep that in mind. So now, since I mentioned about data infrastructure, let's take a look at that. We use this tool extensively in our landscape. DI workload security provides comprehensive anomaly and threat detection. This solution helps us to proactively identify potential risks before they escalate into serious threats, right? So we'll look at that. So it was formerly called Cloud Secure, Cloud Insights, Cloud Secure, but now it's Data Insights, Infrastructure, Storage, Workload Security. It helps you protect our data with actionable intelligence from inside, pretty much insider and outsider threats, right? Provides centralized visibility, as you can see here, has a lot of useful views, and also can control access to data. Um, excuse me. It, um, it has the ability to work on both cloud and on-prem storage systems, but for right now, excuse me, we're only using it to workload security with our on-prem landscape, but we are in the process of rolling it out for our cloud instances also, cloud storage instances, right? Because it gives you real-time alerts of possible malicious user behavior, useful for the for your SecOps team too. Right? It uh, besides that, it also ensures that there's corporate compliance because it provides user data access for auditing. Let's once what we are doing is we're using it, as I mentioned, for our on-prem clusters, on-time clusters, but the policy is configured to take snapshots only and make sure it's not set to, it has the ability to block or lock user access, right? At the volume level, and also if you have the AD connector defined, it can lock the user account also. So make sure you've initially when you configure it, set the policy to snapshot only when it suspects an attack is in process, and not lock or block the volume, because it can lock the AD account as well as the change the export policy. So it can be pretty aggressive. So you want to be extremely careful when you roll out this configuration. Okay. At this time, similar to ARP, it only supports NAS volume. So hopefully in the future, pretty soon, it'll cover SAN volumes also. Configuring it is a little tedious. You have to define a collector per SVM. So, for data collection and analysis. Another feature of this is it deploys a F policy configuration. We reviewed native F policy configuration as part of our ransomware protection solution, but that was very uh, difficult to roll out because of the extension. We didn't have enough knowledge or support from our applications teams. You need to be aware of the file types, extensions that should be added in that F policy configuration. So we decided let's go with the default F policy configuration managed by workload security, right? So next is a little more about workload security, the audit and data breach reporting possibilities that from workload security. As you can see here, it offers unified visibility in all user activities are monitored on those NAS volumes. allows you to cut and slice file activity, which by user time, activity, and file attributes. Uh, it's something, so it's useful for more than the storage admin. It's something I find the SecOps team would find beneficial, right? It's very easy to get a detailed user data access audit report. We also have the uh, access to get up to 13 months of historical data, right? So you can look for, if you want to identify patterns or anomalies, you can just look at, get that report from workload security. On the right side, we have two graphs. One is the activity history graph, shows a line graph of different activities tracked over time. So you can get some insight into peak usage periods or unusual spikes that might need further investigation. Below that, we have a bar graph comparing activities by file action and file entity. So I find it's a crucial tool for maintaining security, or providing a robust security for and visibility to our storage infrastructure. So I use it extensively. So coming to this slide, which we saw earlier before we started talking about the features, let's see how we have configured tamper-proof snapshots, F policy, ARP, along with AD and LDAP connectors. Note how they provide protection. So if let's say the user is the bad actor, ARP, F policy, and tamper-proof snapshots provide protection. Tamper-proof snapshots protection is only at the tamper-proof is covers both NAS and SAN workloads, but F policy ARP provides protection at the NAS workload level. And if you have a compromised user or a storage admin or a rogue storage admin, you can get protection from MAV. Additionally, in our case, we have on the right topmost corner, you see CyberArk. Uh, all of our storage admin accounts, we get a dedicated account, privilege account to access. That's the only way we can access our storage clusters. The account is managed by CyberArk, so the password is rotated out regularly, right, on schedule. So there's no chance of me saving me or any other storage admin saving it in a text file or memorizing it, because there's no point. It just gets rotated out. So that's one. And then the storage, the account we use for automation. In our case, we use Ansible, with Ansible automation platform. That is also managed by CyberArk, right? So that is, so any account, whether it's admin SSH or API access, it's managed by CyberArk, right? So very not easy to compromise our storage admin accounts, right? And then we have AD and LDAP connectors. This is useful for tracking user activity from those graphs that you saw. If you do not have these connectors, it'll just show you the user ID, not the user names, right? So it's a useful feature. In addition, if you want to enhance the security by configuring the policy to lock or block access um, to the storage volume, that's when you definitely need AD and LDAP connectors. So that is something we have have already rolled out for all of our on-prem clusters. right? And in the process of some of these features are not supported for in FSX or FSX ONTAP or VO, but as and when those features are available, we'll roll it out. Okay. Now, since we have already talked about all of the features, let's shift our focus to the critical aspect of cybersecurity, ransomware recovery, right? It's essential to have recovery strategies in place to mitigate the impact of attacks. Attacks will definitely happen. We may not be aware of it, but have some strategy in place. In the next section, we'll explore some of the key components of effective ransomware recovery plan. So one is, you can recover if you have a snapshot that's not tampered with, you can recover from it. So that is the final step. But first, as soon as you discover that ransomware attack is in progress, you have the earlier the detection, it helps you minimize the damage and initiate a swift response. So tools such as our workload security and ARP, it helps you minimize the damage, right? With the, something I forgot to mention with our ARP, I told you about the learning mode or dry run mode, but with the next release of ONTAP 9.16, we have pre-trained model available, so it does not have to go into that 10-day or 30-day learning mode. It right off the right as soon as you enable ARP, it's active and it can help you detect. I think they are saying based on some tests that 99% is the success rate. So that's something we have to test in our environment. We haven't rolled that out yet. 9.16 is not yet released in our environment, right? So once the ransomware is detected, next we have to move to the contain phase, where we have to isolate and try to eliminate the threat. Step is essential to prevent ransomware from spreading further within our customers' network, right? Following the containment, we prepare by identifying vulnerabilities and remediating them. Uh, this involves a thorough analysis to understand how the ransomware infiltrated our system and addressing those weaknesses to prevent future attacks. So this is not something the storage team does on its own in collaboration with the SecOps team. And finally, we can recover by identifying and restoring affected data. This step ensures that we can resume normal operations as quickly as possible with minimal data loss. Automating detection and recovery process can significantly enhance our ability to respond to ransomware attacks efficiently. Together, all these steps form a comprehensive approach to ransomware remediation, ensuring that we can effectively manage and recover from such incidents. Okay, so let's look at what we have planned next, since we have already rolled out the features that we discussed. So we're trying to right now automate and opt out for ransomware protection, because by default, we're trying to force the enable the configuration for all volumes, all NAS volumes. This will help us streamline the process for users who need to opt out, ensuring they can do so efficiently and securely. Another thing that we are working on is the dynamic dashboard. So you get a view of the features, where it's enabled, where the possible gaps are, right? For each of the features that we discussed. So it will be nice, convenient asset to have that view, right? We are also working on SANS support when it becomes available. So these are the initiatives that are part of our ongoing commitment um, to secure our enhance our capabilities and secure our assets, right? So let's summarize our key takeaways. I think I have still time for some Q&A. First, as we've talked about, it's critical to have that constant monitoring in place. NetApp IT leverages data insights, cloud secure, our workload security to ensure that we have thorough and effective monitoring of our systems. Second, to protect our data, we need to have immutable and indelible copies. You achieve that by using tamper-proof snapshots on our primary storage. So it's a defense against data corruption or loss. Also, it's essential to have a recovery strategy. In the event of a data loss or system failure, being prepared can make all the difference, right? We use, of course, as you've seen, snap mirror technology, snapshots to ensure swift and complete recovery, right? So that we are at the end of this webinar. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, so if you can hear me, we do have a couple of
Yeah.
questions.
Mhm.
So the first one is, did you notice any impact to performance after enabling the RPS features?
Yeah, there was some concern about performance issues or impact when we, especially at the scale that we were implementing, we were trying to turn on the features cluster-wide, right? But like there is some impact, but nothing that the customer or our application team has had any concerns about. There was like 1 or 2% spike in CPU usage after enabling, especially when the if you, in my case, I was trying to enable all the features at the same time, F policy, ARP, workload security. So there, when I turned on the features, I could see the spike, and a couple of minutes later, it went back to normal, and so no harm to daily operations as far as application team is concerned. Yeah.
Okay,
So
thanks,
that was
Ram.
kind of expected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And actually, our second question kind of follows on from that. It was asking, can I use any of the RPS features in isolation?
Yes, they can be, but like we talked about, tamper-proof snapshots can be enabled by itself. ARP can be enabled by itself. Um, Cloud workload security definitely can be enabled without. Initially, I thought workload security requires ARP, but that's not the case. You can use workload security without using ARP. But like we saw, right, in that consolidated slide, it's better to have layered defense.
Yeah,
So if one is compromised, you still have some kind of protection from the other. So
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
And just finally, our last question is, can I stop ARP for a particular volume?
Yes, you can. Yeah. So you can enable ARP at the SVM level, and so there's protection for all the volumes hosted by that SVM. But you can pause or stop ARP for a given volume.
Right,
We have to do that occasionally, especially for volumes that have a lot of deletion related activity, usually quarter and month and kind of thing, right? That's when we see, especially with that test at that max level, 100 terabyte, 300 terabyte usage, and snapshots take a lot of space. And so we have to disable ARP or mark the mark the volume as ARPS, configure the ARPS to clear the attack as a false positive. Yeah, so in those cases, definitely possible.